Coming at you from New Jersey, the capital of misery, and the place where metal forgot to die.
This is the Here Lies Metal Too Many Notes new music review. I am Samantha.
I'm Maledictus, and we shall be your overlords for today and all of eternity. Welcome. So, what is this?
Today we are discussing a band called FesterDecay. That's FesterDecay, one word, 2 capital letters.
Okay.
And their album Reality Rotten to the Core. FesterDecay is a death metal band from Fukuoka, Japan, which I looked it up. It's in the southern part of Japan. Interesting facts. They formed in 2015, and they feature KK2 on vocals, Haru on guitar and vocals, Ryozi on drums, and we have some Japanese characters here, which I looked up, and they spell out Kamegashira, which Google Translate informed me means gland's head.
Or in other words, in English, a bell end.
Well, or a dickhead.
Yes.
But a British person may say
Bell end.
bell end. So this is their debut album. After a few demos and splits, released on February 24 on Bandcamp, streaming cassette and CD via Everlasting Spew Records.
Everlasting Spew.
Charming.
That's wonderful. I like that.
Good label.
That works very well. Okay, so all right, now let's get underway. So it's time for the 5-point bidirectional classification scale, including the categories of genre loyalty, listenability, production style, music complexity, and just plain fun. And as usual, neither side of these scales are good or bad. Let us get underway. First category.
Okay, our first scale of true to nonconformist, the scale of genre. Are they true death metal? Yes, they are getting a 1 for true old school death metal. Very true, and in particular, the goregrind, grindcore style. Bands like, I don't know, Carcass. It even says on their Bandcamp bio that they formed specifically to play stuff like Recaputrefaction. And yes, they are doing that. And yes, specifically that album. This album is riffs. It is riff time, big slow riffs, fast crazy riffs, dumb riffs, dumber riffs. Riffs so accurate to the genre that I literally went and looked at the song one was playing on, and it was called Carcass's Revenge. So what else are they doing like Carcass? We've got we got that gurgling vocal. They do have another vocalist here who's kind of more like a rabid kind of rat, like a mutant sewer rat. Like they're both in the sewer, and one is just like a piece of slime, and the other is like a rodent that.
Yeah, like on that level of Skyrim.
But the slime is attacking.
When you have to find that, yeah, I know.
Okay,
I know that one.
We of course have mid-tempo gore grind, a breakneck grindcore. Fun 4 on the floor beats, crazy blast beats, punky driving beats, and I would say there is a nice backbone of punk throughout. And I will also say, if you want to compare this to bands besides Carcass, because Carcass is kind of a big idea. Like fellow Tony has got the shirt on behind me. Pharmacist, fellow Japanese death metal band, is doing Carcass in a very different way. They do not sound like Pharmacists, but they are similar to Pharmacists in that they're doing very true renditions of old school death metal. They remind me a lot of also Undergang in particular. So.
Gruesome death metal. Okay, next, Sonic Terror or Distorted Pop. What is it?
Score of Terror. I'm going to say a 2 for the Terror ends. Might be a little, I don't know, perhaps controversial to give a grindcore album a 2. Which I think is kind of high. I think death metal can max get a 2, so I'm calling this some of the most listenable death metal you can find. Maybe, second only to like Bolt Thrower, which I would say is like a 2.5. And most death metal is like sub 2, just for some context. But, despite the gross vocals, intense grinding, I find this album really listenable. It's down-tuned, but it's not crushing. The riffs are catchy, they're very engaging, they're very varied. And even the grind sections, like they're never too long or pressing, and they're just kind of more fun. Like they have this more punk element to them than like less violent. I don't know if that sounds insulting or not, but they're fun grind sections. I feel like I also might be biased because this is definitely my favorite style of old school death metal. So for me, this is like easy listening. And I would definitely, play this for someone who was looking to get into death metal for the first time. Like maybe after Bolt Thrower, I'd like try this gore grind stuff.
Yes. So yeah, not too many bands out there are ever gonna get a 1. You need to really go the distance for that. You need to
Just that's
actual
like noise.
yeah, you need to actual cause suffering to get 1. So like very few people actually can do that. There's very few bands that can actually do that. But anyway, among this vast arid sonic terra desert of this record, there appears occasionally an oasis of punk rock relief. And it's like, punk rock is always easy, isn't it? That's the whole idea of it. And it has a very down-tuned, thick sound, but at the same time, it's also kind of a little bit easy on the ears based on the way they recorded it. It kind of almost has soft edges to it as opposed to very hard edges that really assault your hearing. So, it was like, that's kind of soft on the ears for me.
Soft grindcore.
Yeah, it has like a soft
It's
edge
been ground down a lot.
It has a smooth edge to it. It's been eroded. I don't know. Next, Fisher Price or high production. I decided to give this a 2.5. And, you're a grindcore, a 2.5. Shouldn't it be one? No, I think they put a little bit of effort into this. The production value of this record has a natural and authentic feel to it. There's lots of weight, obviously, on the lower end of the spectrum here. A lot of very low end here. The drum sound is very big and natural. And being that they are tuned down like to the key of Z here, the guitars and the bass, and yeah, there is a bass occasionally, and he's very, very well audible most of the time. They're able to kind of rise out of the sonic mud that you would expect from an album like this, and I think everything was really well balanced and EQ'd. So, it's a little bit, above the standards of what people usually kind of go for grindcore. They're kind of giving you a little bit more of a more contemporary kind of more of a like a more approachable kind of a feel here. I think, for where they're supposed to be, where you expect them, right? So next, not enough notes or too many notes. We decided to put this at 3.5 because these guys went well higher and above the call of grindcore on this category as well. Despite the grindcore elements, it doesn't mean they don't know how to play. As most grindcore bands. No, it's not true. I think most of them actually do know how to play. They're so talented they're playing grindcore. I think that's my theory. But as long yeah, I think like a lot of bands are really doing. They actually really know what they're doing. They just they're like, but as among all this grinding here they're doing, one could point out some chaos solos, which takes some skill, right? You know the kinds, you know what I'm talking about. Time changes, clever riffs, a lot of riffs, right? And non-cyclical song structures, songs that just keep going straight. They don't come back around for you. And they'll go from a grind chaos to some more traditional punk hardcore within the course of one song. And, they'll give you a catchy D beat, and just to piss you off, they won't revisit it. They'll just keep going. They keep moving. You're not getting it again. So, interesting music here.
Okay, now for our final scale, the scale of fun. We are getting a 1.5 for fun. Flavor notes, I like that you can actually tell this is a Japanese band from like the brief spoken word sections. And in the last song, which is just like very much a punk song in parts, there's got like a clear kind of punk vocal, very clearly singing in Japanese. So I like that. Like I mentioned Undergang earlier, and they sing in Danish, but I can't fucking tell, like, because it's all just like gurgling.
Doesn't matter.
Who knows
what language you're speaking?
But this is like, no, there's like some actual Japanese, elements. So, feels more like an international experience. So that's fun. And also on that final track, I had like an amusing moment on it. Like the clear punk vocal was singing a verse, and then like the gurgling vocal came in and sang the same verse, like as some kind of like weird perverse duet, and that just kind of made me laugh.
I feel like that was from like a horror movie, like, I don't know. And it's speaking of horror movies, I think this album is kind of like a sonic version of one of those Japanese horror films, you know the kind, and some of the less anatomical theme songs. Maybe they're kind of inspired by horror. I couldn't tell you, but it's kind of has a feel of that to me, right? I can't understand, otherwise, like, I can't understand anything you're saying, even if they were speaking English, But what does it matter though?
Well, maybe we could understand that last song if it was in English.
Yeah,
that's
right.
What I'm saying.
Maybe, who knows? But I think gore themed, death metal or grindcore is generally has a fun feel to it. You can't really be serious when you're just playing with intestines and throwing them everywhere. That can't be serious. But you can't. You're like a.
I mean, I didn't give it a 1 just because some of those grind sections are they can be intense, maybe frightening for some, not fun for everybody. But fun for me.
All right. So what do we have for
artwork? Is credited to 072.
072. Coming at you, 072. Let's check.
What's that?
Let's look at. Oh, that's gory, isn't it? Oh yeah. So this looks like. All right. So there's a lot of.
There's a baby.
Organs. I think it's like a baby's head.
There is a sample of a baby crying on the album.
That's probably from one of those horror movies.
Maybe it's a real baby.
Maybe it's a real baby. So there's like different kind of anatomically
a bit of a collage. Of, a human collage.
Anatomical collage of different organs. You could point them out, if you have some.
I see a brain.
I see a brain over here, and it's a lungs over here, right?
It's just a hand in there.
There's a hand there.
Easy.
A baby's head, a disembodied baby's head.
Baby looks
taken
sad.
From the uterus directly, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe that's a liver.
Yeah. Maybe.
Looks like it's got some cirrhosis on it. Though.
Yeah. It doesn't look like a good liver. Those lungs don't look good either, right? And it's a heart. Oh, here's a heart right up here. Yeah, it's a heart right there, up on top of the baby's head.
Oh, I thought that was a liver.
I think it's an upside down heart. I think it's an upside down heart.
Well, it doesn't look great either way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's rotting.
There's a liver in here somewhere. This is a pancreas.
We're
maybe?
not doctors.
Over here. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just spitballing here. I'm not too anatomically educated here, but I'm doing my best here from all the horror movies
I will
seen.
say, as far as a grindcore album goes, that has human body parts and organs, and even a dead baby. This really isn't that offensive to look at. Like, it's kind of muted in its colors, I feel like.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look too real.
It has a palette to it. It has like an orangish palette.
Yeah, so it's like
colors.
it's kind of much like the album is maybe a softer, gentler grindcore. This is a softer, gentler grindcore cover art.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd agree with that.
I also like the color of the logo. It doesn't go, but I enjoy
just complementary colors.
I just enjoy the colors.
They're just using the color pyramid, and they're just they chose like a complementary color because that color is like kind of the opposite of these colors.
I supports bright turquoise, neon turquoise, yellow.
In a yellow theme. It's just the opposite. It's like the complete opposite. But there's like a head here. This guy's looking down at her.
That's just a dude.
Maybe he's the surgeon. And he's like, look what I found. I opened up his body, and this is what I found. I don't know, but
All right.
It's an autopsy gone wrong.
In conclusion, FesterDecay, reality rotten to the core. Awesome album. I mean, it's exactly my style of death metal, and they do it really well. And yeah, I obviously just highly recommend if you like these kinds of riffs, and if you want to listen to another Carcass Worship band, yes, definitely check this one out and add it to the stable of Carcass Worship bands. Which is, I'm always fine with adding another band there. So.
Yeah, just a quick public service announcement. We've been noticing some guys have been emailing us for reviews, and I want everyone to know out there, we find you. So, because it wouldn't be fair if you just, email us like, hey, give us a review when, we're going to be searching for people kind of randomly. It just wouldn't be, nobody gets in front of the list. Nobody gets in front of the line, basically. That's basically how we work. Like, we find you. It's just luck of the draw,
We also don't check the email.
Yeah, also.
That's not a decision. That's just
also,
something we...
Yeah, also, I don't really
don't do.
Yeah, most of the time, I don't really get anything on there. So, I rarely check it, because it's... Yeah.
We actually got a promo for this one.
Yeah.
Didn't
which is,
let's see.
Which is rare, but guys out there, if you're going to send us stuff, just,
it's not worth it. We're too
chill.
Slow. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's just, just something you all know out there. If I don't respond to you, it's just not, I hate you or anything. It's just not how we do things here. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching this episode. Make sure to like and subscribe. And
this has been the Herelies Metal Team Notes new music review. I was Samantha.
And I was Malavicus, and we'll see you again with another review. Goodbye.